Hey everybody, Philly Z here. Guess what we're doing today? We're planting pepper seeds. Yay! I'm going to take you through how I like to plant pepper seeds the fast, simple, and easy way. I like to get them started indoors early. It's the middle of February. Pepper plants take a while to germinate and they take a while to grow. So I'm going to take you through how I like to do this. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, thumbs up if you like this. If you have any questions or comments, throw them in there. Do my best to respond as quick as I can. Thanks everybody. Okay, so I like to start out by laying out all the different things I'm going to need. I'll take you through the various items. This year I'm going to try the peppers in a couple ways. I'm going to put them in these, start them in these peat pellets. Don't know how well they'll turn out, but I do like using peat pellets. I've used them with some other plants in the past, and I like how they'll show the roots, and I don't have to dig them up to transplant them. So when I transplant them up, it's simply dropping them into another container. I'm going to start some peppers that way. And then the other way we're going to do, so we're kind of experimenting this year, is we're going to do some 6-cell, this flimsy plastic type stuff. And I picked this size, a little bit bigger. Sometimes you can get the grids that are even tighter, but I'm doing this size so I don't have to do as many transplants up, and I don't really need that many pepper plants. I typically, if you look at my other videos, I do about 20, I'd say. So that's how we're going to do them. We'll do them in trays here, and we'll bottom water them. So I'll teach you that, show you that technique as well. In terms of varieties, I'm going to show you, I'm not plugging any particular place that sells varieties, but my recommendation is find ones that work well in your local area. So talk to people, go to seed exchanges early in the spring, find out what varieties do well. Once you find that out, stick with it. I used to do a lot of experimentation on different plants, and I find that I keep coming back to the same ones. The containers, and then we've got soil over here. You can see my hand touching the bag of seed starting mix. And then the only other thing I like to have is, of course, some masking tape and a pen so I can label what we've done, because it's really easy to forget as you move along. So I've got the peat pellets in a tray. And now what I want to do is soak them so they expand and get to the size that we need them for the seeds. So just pour some water in here. It doesn't matter if you overfill, because they're going to fill up, get to a certain size. Once they're that size, you pull them out of the tray. The extra water you can discard. So we'll give that some time, probably 15-20 minutes I would imagine. We'll work on the other part now. Now we prep our plastic cells. So I've filled up the tray with, or the container with starter mix. I'm going to pat it down gently. If you find that it goes down quite far, then you'll want to fill that back up. This feels pretty good to me. I'm not over pressing. You don't want to make it too tight, because then it's harder for the roots to push through, I find, the seedling roots. So that for me, I've left a little bit of space to the top. And yeah, that's a good one there. So we're going to repeat that a couple more times here. Fill it to the top. Shake it to settle it and get all the extra off into the bag so you don't have too much extra laying out here. Avoiding making too much of a mess. Firm down your soil. Our peat pellets have now soaked and filled up with water. You can see they've expanded. They're quite thick now. So they're good to go. We'll start with the nardellos or the metans. I also happen to have some older stock that I took from the plants. So I will plant those and I'll label it so we know and we see how they do. Now I find when I'm planting pepper seeds, and usually in each one of these cells, I'm going to want to plant 2 at the least, more likely 3, just because there's not always 100% germination rate here. So let's find our seeds, pull them out. You don't get a ton, and that's why I've tried to start learning how to, and I'll take you through it at some point, how to take the seeds forward. So I'm going to start with this tray, And we're going to get the seeds into here. So again, read the back, find out what the depth is. It's really quick and easy. Sow seeds 1/2 inch deep. Okay, 1/2 inch is, I want these to be sitting. 1/2 inch almost takes us to the top of this thing. So I'm going to find my, push it down a little bit more, create a bit of space there. And then I'm going to strategically place these. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. And over 1, 2, 3 in each. Try to put them in a triangle sort of shape, space them out a bit. You never know when you get multiples that come up strong. If you're really wanting lots of plants, there's a way of taking them apart early where you don't damage the roots too much. But I will typically just let the champion or the strongest one that seems to take off the quickest and look the healthiest, I'll keep that one, and I'll end up taking the other ones out. So I'm pressing these down slightly, only because I know that I don't have a ton of room in the top here. But there's my 3 per cell. I'm going to put these other ones back in their home. There we go. And now we're going to top dress that with some seedling mix. So I get the mix spread out, or the soil, and then I pat it down again just a little bit. Firm the soil up over top, the starter mix over top. And then the last step is going to be to label it. I always like to label it before I move on to the next one. It's really easy to lose track. So this is our matan. So when I label, I typically put the date I planted it, 02/22. I put what it is, pepper, and I'll quite often put the variety, matan. Then tape that in a spot where if you're top water feeding, you're not going to get it wet and run the label or have it lose its stickiness and come off. Okay, there's the matans or the nardellos. So what's interesting about the peat pellets is that these ones at least are pre-shaped, and they appear to come with a hole in the top, so it's kind of made for a single plant. Like I said, with my peppers, I usually like to plant more than one seed because the germination rates aren't always awesome. So what a person can do if you want is just pull this back slightly, create a bit more space in there, drop a couple seeds, try to give them space between themselves so they're not all entangled. But you're going to end up cutting all of them except for the best one. So it is okay if they're, I guess, kind of close to each other, because you're not going to let them live long like that. Now the other thing with peat pellets is you might get them in, but as you can see, there's still no soil on top. There's a trick where you squish it back over top here, and hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I'll show it with a few of them. Let me just make sure I get those 3 set. So yeah, so maybe a side view will be better, but to squish it I go. I'm pushing it down. It's a bit wet. Kind of pushing down all on the top and around the edges. It firms it, it covers it. It's going to be trickier though to get to that 1/2 inch depth, I'm realizing. But we'll see. Like I said, this is a bit of an experiment. I like to do that in small pockets. Alright, let's get some of the other seeds in the other 3. Okay, we're almost there with the peppers here. Last step is to fill the tray with some water. Right now at this stage, these are just seeds, so they don't need any fertilization. Don't fertilize them at first. There's enough nutrients in the actual seed to get the plant started. So I've filled this up. It's about 1/4 to a 1/2 inch in the tray. That part's a little less relevant. You'll find with your place you live and warmth and dryness and all that stuff, it may vary, but you want to leave this for, I'm going to leave it for an hour or so and see. I want it to soak up all this water through the bottom, and it'll end up showing as moist on top. And then if there's still water left in the tray after that, then I'm going to dump that water out, and I'll get to the point of just filling this up every probably couple days. I've left this tray separate just because I don't want those to soak. It would take more, the water would soak these way quicker than the entire cells. So I've left them in their own little island, if we want to call it that. But now we're going to take those peppers and we're going to put them under the lights. And the light cycles, I usually go on, I don't know, 18 hours on, 6 off if you want to get some good vegetative going. Okay, now that we've got our seeds planted, the water's still in the tray. We're going to let that soak up for a while. I've got the seeds underneath this grow lamp now. I've tried to put it very close to the surface, if you can tell, of the actual plants. That makes it so your seedlings are a little less leggy, is the term. It's when they get really, they reach for the light and they get long and weak and they sometimes fall over. So the only other thing I didn't mention before is that for the peppers I do have a heating pad. It is for vegetable purposes. I wouldn't just take I don't think you can take just a normal heating pad. Again, I'm not plugged by these guys. Sorry, it's upside down. Seedling heat mat. I find with peppers, out of all of them, tomatoes not so much, but peppers, they really like to have a bit of warmth to germinate, and they do take a while, sometimes a week. So I'm going to turn that heating pad on. We've got the lights on. They're going to stay on. I'm going to do a 16, I figure a 16/8 cycle. Okay, everybody, there you have it. That's how Phil Easy likes to plant his pepper plants. As you saw, I'm trying 2 methods this year. We're going to do the peat pellets and the regular starter mix and see how those go. Thank everyone for watching. Hopefully there was some good information in here for you. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to do that below. Don't hesitate to hit the subscribe button, notification bell, or thumbs up if you enjoyed what you're seeing here. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.